morning, everyone. I'm Carol Williams with Williams Immigration, and we are back for another Monday morning edition of Beyond the Soundbite, where we talk about all things U.S. immigration related. As you all know, usually I like to talk about some things that have happened within the past week, but sometimes there are things that are certainly longer and lingering. So, I talk about those as well. So, I like to dive right on in. So the first thing I want to talk about is effective March 31st of this year, we have a new policy from USCIS where individuals who are requesting a benefit from USCIS can now choose their gender on the forms. If they feel that the gender that they chose originally does not adequately reflect who they are, they may go back and change their gender with USCIS. When they do that, they are not asked for any supporting documentation. They are just simply allowed to do it. So USCIS is now allowing people to affirmatively choose their gender on their documents in their application. And if their applications have already been filed, they are certainly welcome to go back and change their gender choice on the forms. So that is a great news for individuals that felt like they had to choose a specific gender that they perhaps did not identify with. And again, that was effective as of March 31st. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to us. We are more than happy to help you reach out to USCIS and get your gender changed on your existing applications. The next thing I want to talk about are some of the obligations that employers have when they are in a position where they are terminating employees that are not U.S. citizens. So some visa categories, H in particular, requires an employer to pay reasonable travel fees home for the employee. So that is something that if you are an employer that you should be well versed in, and I would recommend that you have a conversation with your immigration attorney prior to terminating anybody on your payroll that's not a U.S. citizen, to make sure that you don't run afoul of these rules. In some cases, you're also going to want to let USCIS know that this person is no longer employed by you, and you can withdraw that application and the approval notice as well. And in some instances, you're also going to want to let the Department of Labor know. You can also withdraw some of those applications. The other thing, while certainly not required, I think it would be certainly helpful for an employer to let an individual know what their current grace period is, if they are eligible for a grace period, and if so, how long their current grace period is. That will help sort of ease the transition from the employee's perspective, certainly. And in terms of the employee's perspective, if you are an employee and you have been unfortunately terminated, and you are not a U.S. citizen and you are here on a visa, you really do need to act pretty quickly. You may have a grace period, so you want to determine exactly how long your grace period is and then start to take action. Some people will have an option where they can certainly, maybe they want to switch to being a visitor while they look for other employment. Maybe they've already found other employment. Maybe they sort of saw this coming, and you want to reach out to a new employer and have them start to file, have them start to prepare and then file your paperwork as soon as possible. It's very important that your new employer understand how long you have for a grace period. There could be green card options. There could be other non-immigrant options for you. So if you are an employee that has been terminated, you want to make sure that you seek immigration counsel quickly. If you have any questions about that, feel free to reach out to our office. We can be reached at 954-903-1337. And the next thing I want to talk about is the ADIT stamp, which is ADIT, the ADIT stamp. So the ADIT stamp is really a stamp that USCIS provides individuals when for some reason they don't have their green card. So they've changed their process. So what they're doing now is you can call the customer service number, the toll-free customer service number, explain your situation. And if you meet the criteria for having this new stamp mailed to you, they will send you a new I-94 card. It will have the added stamp on it. And that will be the documentation and the proof that you need to show that you are, in fact, a lawful permanent resident. If you don't meet that criteria, the officer will then get you scheduled to go into your local USCIS office, where you can explain to the officers in your local USCIS office why you need proof that you are a green card holder. So again, this program piloted out of the Boston local office, and so now they have released it nationwide. So what I am hoping to see is that we are spending fewer kind of internal staff hours on the added stamp at the local office, and hopefully that will free up officers at the local office to adjudicate more applications, do more interviews, and work through their current backlogs. So hopefully this will be an effective backlog reduction policy that immigration has implemented. The next thing I want to remind y'all of, I think we talked about this, I think maybe last week, is that the Department of State, they, as you know, if you have been listening to me, they oversee all of our U.S. Embassies and consulates outside of the United States. So Department of State has recently indicated that on May 30th of this year, they are increasing visa application fees. So please keep this in mind. If you don't need if you don't need an underlying application processed by USCIS first, think of the visitor visa. That fee, which is currently $160, is going to go up to $185. Again, it will be effective May 30th of this year. If you do need an application processed by the Immigration Service in the US first, think your H's, your L's, your O1s, that visa fee is going to go up from $190 to $205. Our e-visa applicants, these are typically done over at our U.S. consulates overseas. That fee is currently $205. It will increase to $315. If you are looking to apply for a border crossing card for Mexican nationals, ages 15 and up, that fee will be raised from $160 to $185. So again, those fees at the consulate are going to go up May 30th. Now, those fees are completely different and from USCIS proposed fee increase that they released in January. So the state of affairs on the proposed USCIS increase is that they are still going through those comments that people submitted and looking to see whether or not they're going to change anything in that rule. Again, if I were to be a betting person, I do believe that USCIS is going to move forward with publishing a new rule with new fees. So if you are kind of taking a wait and see approach, you may be waiting for new fees. So you want to just factor that into your overall process when you're looking at applying for a new USCIS benefit. And the last thing I want to talk about is H-1B season. You knew you were not going to get away with the Monday Morning Live during H-1B season without me mentioning it. So if for some reason you have not checked your My USCIS account, go ahead, check your My USCIS account. USCIS has run the lottery. If the status of your registration has changed from submitted to selected, if it is now saying selected, your registration was chosen in the H-1B lottery. If that is the case, you can now go ahead and prepare your full H-1B filing, and it must be submitted by June 30th of this year. So again, if you have not checked your My USCIS account, go ahead and do so. And you want to see whether or not your status has changed from submitted to selected. If it is now saying selected, you were selected in the H-1B lottery, and you have until June 30th of this year to file that H-1B application. If you have any questions about your H-1B application, the lottery, the new proposed fees, changing the gender that you chose on your already submitted applications, feel free to reach out to my office. We're happy to help you. 954-903-1337. Have a great rest of your Monday and a fabulous week.